Good day everyone, and welcome to the Shadowbringers job introductions, this time featuring the Scholar. The Disciples of Nim have received notable changes to many of their actions and supporting companions. For starters, Scholars have received new upgrades to their offensive actions Bio 2 and Broil 2 in the form of Biolysis and Broil 3 respectively. On the other hand, they have also suffered the removal of Miasma, Miasma 2, Bane, and Shadow Flare. But to compensate, they have also received a new AoE action at level 46, the Art of War. Moving on to support actions, the new Adloquium has had its properties changed, and now grants two separate barriers, the old Galvanize for regular healing, and Catalyze for critical healing. The effects of this change are twofold, preventing critical shields from being overwritten by Astrologians, but also preventing interaction with deployment tactics, as it only affects Galvanize and not Catalyze. In addition, both deployment tactics and excogitation can now also be cast on yourself. The action Aetherflow is still present for Scholars, but is now only usable in combat, and has also been bumped to level 45 to accompany Lustrate, which is now learned at the same level. And to accommodate this change, the old action Energy Drain no longer exists. Lastly, we have the new action Recitation, allowing the next Adloquium, Succor, Indomitability or Excogitation to be cast at no MP or Aetherflow cost, while ensuring it results in a critical effect. And while minor changes, Chain Stratagem has had its critical chance lowered from 15 to 10%, while Sacred Soil now receives a healing over time effect once enhanced by its new trait at level 78. Moving on to fairy-specific changes, we have the new Eos and Selene, now functioning identically to one another and differing only in their aesthetic. To accommodate this change, fairy actions have been reworked and consolidated into the new Whispering Dawn and Fey Illumination, in addition to the new Fey Blessing, a powerful AoE heal that costs fairy gauge. And at level 80, Scholars may call upon the new Seraph for up to 20 seconds, providing barriers with their healing and allowing the execution of the new charged action Consolation, a powerful AoE heal that also shields nearby party members. While unchanged, the ability Aether Pact, otherwise known as Fey Union, is still present, and the old action Dissipation now returns the fairy once its effect expires. Lastly, it's important to mention that fairies, much like the new Summoner Eggies, are now impervious to most forms of damage and no longer generate enmity. And to accommodate this change, the pat actions Sustain and Arouse are no longer present. Also joining them are the role actions Cleric Stance, Break, Largesse, Eye for an Eye, and Protect. However, the Crowd Control Repose has now also been turned into a new role action. By stepping into Shadowbringers, the new Scholar had its focus changed to be significantly more healing-oriented than ever before. But how do you feel about these changes? Let me know in the comments below, but until then, I hope to see you on the next job introduction. Good day everyone, and welcome to the Shadowbringers job introductions, this time featuring the Summoner. The Invokers of Eorzea have received significant changes not only to their actions, but also pets and resource management. To start things off, we have the overhauling of the Summoner's Aetherflow, no longer being granted by its own action, but rather through the usage of Energy Drain, or its new AoE sibling, the Energy Siphon, with whom it shares a recast time with. Now stacking up only twice, the new Aetherflow is used exclusively to perform Faster and Pain Flare, which remain largely unchanged, aside from no longer granting Aether Trail. To accommodate this change, the Action Bane no longer requires Aether Flow, and becomes further enhanced at level 78 to also spread Ruination across all enemies. The Summoner's signature Ruin spells now scale in potency depending on the presence of both Bio and Miasma on their targets. And replacing the old Tribind, we have the new Outburst, which also benefits from Ruination. And finally, we have the improved Tri-Disaster, now boasting a shorter recast time and inflicting Ruination for twice as long thanks to the new trait obtained at level 76. The Summoner's iconic Dreadworm Trance has also received significant changes, now functioning independently of Aether Flow, but on a 60-second cooldown, in addition to reducing spellcasting time instead of boosting magic damage. And at level 72, the new enhanced Dreadworm trait further increases the amount of Aether it provides, allowing Bahamut to be summoned without the need to enter a second trance. To complement this change, Summoners now enter the new Firebird Trance after summoning Bahamut, functioning similarly to Dreadworm Trance and replacing both Ruin 3 and Outburst with Fountain of Fire and Brand of Purgatory, respectively. And at level 80, Firebird Trance is further enhanced to summon forth a Phoenix, providing a healing over time effect to nearby players and boasting Revelation as its enkindle action. Moving on to Eggy-specific changes, all summoning actions can now be performed instantly and free of any MP cost. In addition, Eggies now behave similarly to Bahamut, becoming impervious to most forms of damage and no longer generating enmity. To accommodate this change, Pat actions have also been reworked and consolidated into the new Eggy Assaults 1 and 2, which now benefit from the charge system. In addition to Enkindle, now receiving a significant cooldown reduction from its old trait. And starting at level 74, the new Eggy Assault trait guarantees the further Ruin effect, which can now be accumulated and stacks up to 4 times. Following the changes to Pat immunity, Titan's old Earthen Ward has been changed into the new Earthen Armor, which now creates a powerful damage-absorbing barrier around the Summoner. And lastly, the Aether Pact action, namely Devotion, has also received a moderate damage boost, but no longer provides a healing increase or damage mitigation. Of course, not all actions survive the Pat overhaul, and among them we have Garuda's Contagion and Ifrit's Radiant Shield, in addition to the retirement of the Summoner actions Shadow Flare, Rouse, and Sustain. Also joining them are the role actions Break, Drain, Diversion, Mana Shift, Apocatastasis, and Erase, leaving casters with the fewest amount of role actions available. While overwhelming at first, the adjustments brought about by Shadowbringers strive to add more summon to the word Summoner. But how do you feel about these changes? Let me know in the comments below, but until then, I hope to see you on the next job introduction. Good day everyone, and welcome to the Shadowbringers job introductions, this time featuring the Machinist. The mechanicians of Ishgard have received a complete overhaul of mechanics, now boasting entirely new actions and class-specific resources. But before we begin, it's important to clarify that the old ammunition system and the Gauss barrel are no longer present, now being replaced by the new heat and battery gauges, which we will be covering step by step. To start things off, we have the Machinist's new main combo, comprised of Split Shot, Slug Shot, and Clean Shot, now guaranteed to combo into one another and generating heat with every step. And starting at level 54, the new Shot Mastery traits will automatically and permanently upgrade them into their respective heated variants, no longer being reliant on the old heat system. The abilities Gauss Round and Ricochet have also been reworked into charged actions, slowly building charges over time and stacking up to 3 times starting at level 74. Once enough heat is accumulated, machinists can hypercharge their weapons for a short time, allowing the execution of Heat Blast, reducing the recharge time of both Gauss Round and Ricochet, or Auto Crossbow to strike multiple enemies instead. Up next, we have the new battery system, fueled primarily by the combo finisher Clean Shot and the new Hot Shot, no longer increasing damage dealt, but receive a significant potency increase once upgraded into the new Air Anchor at level 76. And starting at level 58, the new hard-hitting action Drill further boosts battery generation, but shares the same recast timer with its AoE sibling, the Bioblaster. Once the battery gauge has been sufficiently charged, the machinist may call upon its old companion, the Rook Auto Turret, now automatically overloading before expiring unless manually triggered. And at level 80, the turret is further upgraded into the Automaton Queen, boasting its own set of actions, and much like the turret, automatically overloading before expiring. With regards to AoE actions, we have the survival of Spread Shot and Flamethrower, which no longer serves to gradually increase the heat gauge. And finally, we have the old Wildfire with its new accompanying detonator, now allowing machinists to choose a suitable time to trigger its effect. Moving on to utility actions, we have the new Barrel Stabilizer, instantly generating a significant amount of heat every 60 seconds, as well as the new Reassemble, guaranteeing that the next weapon skill will result in a critical direct hit. The ability Tactician has also been repurposed into a tool for party-wide mitigation, now a carbon copy of the Bard's Troubadour and the Dancer's Shield Samba. Besides the removal of Gauss Barrel and the reload actions, we also have the retirement of Heartbreak, Blank, Rapid Fire, Dismantle, and the old Bishop Turret. Also joining them are the role actions Invigorate, Refresh, Arm Graze, and Palisade. However, ranged classes now have access to arm's length, allowing them to bypass displacement effects on a moderate cooldown. Despite being far too early to draw any conclusions, the new machinists make their debut with promising and powerful new mechanics. But how do you feel about these changes? Let me know in the comments below, but until then, I hope to see you on the next job introduction.